Hello, people. Welcome to episode 5 of The Mechanics of Poetry. Today, our subject, our question, what are your favorite poetry venues? And I'm going to launch right into these people right away because I want to hear what they have to say. What are their favorite poetry venues? I turn to my left, Jesse Tovar.
Oh, hello. Hey, everyone. And hello, the Mechanics of Poetry podcast. I'm going to probably be biased here. Number one is My Place Cafe. That's where there is an ongoing series of poetry and prose nights happening. I've had the pleasure of curating a few events already earlier this year. Second favorite place that I've been to, even though it's also used as a theater space, is Beyond Baroque. I went there in
Before you get to that, I want to give people the information about the My Place Cafe. Where is it? Give them the 411.
Oh, okay. So My Place Cafe is located at 2057 North Los Robles Avenue, Suite 10 in Pasadena, at the corner of Los Robles and Woodbury, at the Pasadena-Altadena border.
And do they have a schedule? Is there anything scheduled that you can tell them to look forward to?
Oh, yes. So Spectrum Publishing will be having their big poetry slam on Saturday, April 17th from 3 to 5. I'm looking forward to seeing who Coco and Kaloki curated for the event. It will be airing on YouTube Live. And actually, and then you know what? I'll probably just put the link for the YouTube channel right now in the chat here. Yeah.
Okay.
Once I find that.
All right. So I just wanted people to have that information about the My Place Cafe in Pasadena, which is bringing back live events starting this Saturday, April.
No, next Saturday.
Oh, I'm sorry, not this Saturday. Next Saturday, April 17th.
Yeah. That is correct.
Okay, I don't want to get it wrong. And so we'll post that information. If it's in the chat, I can take the chat and put it below the video on YouTube when people watch this at their leisure, so they can get the complete 411 about getting there and participating in the event. And now you were about to mention a very revered place. Go ahead, sir. Sir Jesse. The revered place.
Oh, yes, Beyond
the Mecca
Baroque.
of poetry in LA.
Mm-hmm.
What is
it? Venice.
In
yeah,
Venice?
Beyond Baroque's in Venice. I went there in 2019 to watch an adaptation of a chapbook that turned into like a play. It was written by Randy Cawthon, and his chapbook was called, I can't remember the exact name, but it was called A Pile of Meat. It was written in response to Donald Trump and the wall, and him, loving the wall so much that he made a big old parody out of it, where Donald Trump wanted to build the wall out of like literal like pieces of like beef and like have sex with it.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Beyond Baroque, I like to think everybody has heard of Beyond Baroque. So if anyone wants to say anything about Beyond Baroque, feel free to do so. I'll say that it's been around ever since I was 8 years old. It's a long time. Back in the late 60s. And I only myself came onto the poetry scene in 1985, but that was definitely one of the first places I discovered. And the thing that I love the most about Beyond Baroque is it has a bookstore. Yeah, you can buy poetry. Oh, yes. Anyone else want to say anything about Beyond Baroque?
I like that it has multiple rooms. I wish they had an elevator.
They do art shows as well, don't they? They have some wonderful
they had
art
an elevator for the for the handicap and disabled, and it's kind of treacherous going up and down those stairs and your joints don't work that well, and for the more elderly. The main venue is gorgeous. It's a theater type venue. Historic in its building, because it needs updating for the handicap.
And it's on 681 Venice Boulevard in that Los Angeles neighborhood known as Venice. See, no one's correcting me, so I must be right. Events will hopefully be coming back there as well soon, but they have an online presence as well. So you can go to beyondbaroque.org, get all the 411 about Beyond Baroque, the real mecca of poetry in LA for decades. Legendary poets have been there. All right, Jesse.
They have great workshops, and
Oh yeah, that's right. The Wednesday night workshop.
Wednesday night they have a
Saturday
fiction workshop on Mondays. And they're free. They're wonderful.
And reasonably priced.
Yes, very reasonably priced.
Yeah.
It's just, I like being able to do it on Zoom because it's a schlep. You know? It's far for me to drive.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Easy to get to.
On Zoom, yeah.
So Jesse, did you have any other venues you want to mention, or I'm going to move on to someone else? You don't have to mention another one. 2 per person is plenty. We'll see if-
because I mean the other venues that have done like open mics, they're not even doing poetry open mics anymore. So
Well, we're going to hold that thought, because I really am hoping that the summer will change things. But let's talk about the past a bit. I'm going to go to my famous boy-girl order, as I was instructed to do back when I was at Hillcrest Elementary School in the 60s. Right? So I'm going to go with that lady that was on here first. I believe it was, who was it? It was, I think it was Judy.
Well,
I think it was you. Yeah, Judy, any favorite venues you want to talk about?
you know what? My favorite venues are the ones that I don't have to drive far to get to. So I like the Studio City Library. I like Zoom a lot.
Let's talk about these one at a time. The library,
James Maverick.
Yeah, how often do they have events?
I think they're twice a month. Or at least when they were live, they were twice a month. I don't know about now. Now he's doing it on Zoom, and he has a couple of them. He has one at the Hollywood Library.
And James Maverick, who he prefers to be called James Everett Jones now.
Yeah, he changes that every now and then.
It took me a while to get used to it too, but I just say that name because I want the people who watch this video, you can contact James Everett Jones on Facebook.
And Expressions LA.
He'll be able to tell you about the plans in the future. But he would have a monthly event there in the past. Yeah.
And I like Saturday afternoon poets. And as I said, a lot of Zoom stuff.
You want to mention one of them?
There's one called, it's not really a poetry venue, it's a music venue. And it's Trip Kennedy's show-off show. That's on Monday nights.
And is there contact information to be able to reach them?
I will find it for you.
All right, and you can always put that in the chat.
What else? Oh, and Thursday night, Canyon Poets.
Well, yeah, is that ongoing every Thursday?
Every Thursday, yeah. Yeah,
All
what
right.
else, Coco? You know more of these than I do.
Yeah, I'm a little out of touch because I'm not around in the evenings much anymore. But you're right. I remember now, Thursday nights.
Oh,
But I want people to be able to contact these people. So, I mean, Katrina Canyon is also on Facebook. So if you want to learn about the Canyon Poets reading, I think it'll be easier to find her than North Canyon Poets.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think. I could be wrong. There might be a group.
No,
There's
There's a group? Okay, thank you, Coco. All right, because if you go too fast with these and people are not going to be able to find them, that's really what I want this episode to do, to not only let people know about it, but also how to get in touch. If we can provide that service, then this might be useful. All right. You were talking about a music one on Mondays.
yeah. It's, let me see.
Do you have information on that one? Who's in charge? Are they on Facebook, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got it in the notes now. James Everett Jones.
They don't, they don't really welcome a lot of poets. I guess I go there because they know me, but every once in a while, somebody will drop in.
Yeah, is it Trip Kennedy? Is that the one? I'm seeing somebody put down Trip Kennedy.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Okay. All right, so that'll be posted under this video on YouTube for that information if you want to watch musicians, That's not a bad thing to do at all. All right. I'm going to go to Mark Fisher now. Got any venues in mind, sir?
Well, I'm not in the LA area, so
I was just thinking of that. Yeah. And yet you were able to get out to Saturday afternoon poetry in Pasadena kind of regularly.
I would say irregularly, but
Well,
it does happen.
Events, right? The book events, you're always there.
I try to come for the book events. Otherwise, it's hard to get down there. We do have a venue here in Tehachapi. I don't think that they're currently open. I know they were trying to do Zoom type open mics.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything about that recently.
Oh.
But when they were, it's Fiddler's Crossing, and they in the past were having open mic every Wednesday. It's primarily musicians, but they always welcome spoken word of any kind. I've had.
Did the event have a name?
Fiddler's Crossing.
Fiddler's Crossing. So you could maybe Google that and.
I have got their webpage here. Let's put it in the chat here. Okay. Hopefully that showed up. And it's basically
crossing.org, right?
Right. And it's basically downtown Tehachapi. So if you're in Tehachapi, you can find it.
Can I ask a stupid question?
Go right ahead.
Where is Tehachapi?
It's off the 58. If you head on the 5 to the 99 and then go into 58 East, you'll hit to Tehachapi.
You
In
will.
what direction?
How many,
North or south?
how many miles is that?
It is
99
north.
is already out there.
It
my
is
goodness.
north of Pasadena, LA. If you know where Mojave is,
Mm-hmm.
Like 90 miles.
Hmm?
Is that 90 miles?
90 miles.
About
Roughly.
90, yeah.
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
takes me about an hour and a half
If
to
it
get
is
down to
anywhere
Pasadena.
close to the 99, it's way.
Yeah.
40 minutes from Bakersfield.
Hey, it's a good point. If you're on vacation or if you want to take a road trip, there are venues all over the nation. You just have to hunt them down. I used to do that back in the earlier part of the 21st century. We had some road trips when we were younger, and we would take half a dozen poets and just head out to Arizona and Nevada and Northern California and just hit up some venues.
We should do that. We should do that. Just do a poetry tour. Poetry tour 2020.
Oh, yeah. That is the dream
LA
right there.
poets. LA poets hit the open mics across the nation.
I'd be down to just go to Tehachapi on a Saturday at this point.
There was a group of poets many moons ago named the Karma Bum Poets, and they were 4 of them, and they were in their very classic 60s looking car. You can probably think about it. They call those land barges. It was a huge 60s car, like a Buick or whatever. I can't remember what it was. And they just drove around the country, performing at venues around the country. That was the Karma Bums.
You need like a grant for that, because that's not going to pay off. Not even the mileage.
No, but it was the adventure. They did it for the adventure. It was like a killer.
Yeah, I'm in for the adventure, but I'm also in for paying my bills.
Yeah. Oh, we'll bring that up a little later, because there are ways of making things happen that way, but I don't want to bring it up too early. I want the
No,
venues.
that's what I was saying. You will have to write a grant for that.
Well, we just had a big deadline a week ago. for California Arts Council grants. And several people I know called me up and asked for a little help. And,
Yeah, I know, I didn't apply, not because
it's a lot of work.
I-
A lot of work.
no, I saw that I just cannot put anything else on my platter. I'm building an apartment. I just finished a book this week. I am in the pre-sales of another book, and I am in the middle of the school year. So
Yeah, so all you have to do is list all that and send it to the California Arts Council and you'll get your grant. Next year, it's every year. And there are 3 levels. I'll say this real quick since it got brought up. There are 3 levels. There's the basic grant, which is, I think, $1,000. And then there's the mid-level grant. If you have at least 3 years experience on the scene, you get a $5,000 grant. Or is the first one at 5,000? Well, and the third level is the one for, it's called the legacy grant. If you've been on the scene for 10 or more years, you get $50,000. Now they're only giving this to 10 people at each level. I think it's 10 people. It might be more in the lower levels. I help people at the upper levels. That's where things get so tense. You got to have everything right, you know. But we can talk about more about that definitely in another episode in time for the next cycle of grants. But getting back to the venues here, I'm going to go to Coco now, the boy girl thing. And you got any favorite venues at Coco or want to talk about?
I'm Spectrum loyal, and I love Saturday afternoon poetry.
Let me say one thing about that too, because I'm not sure we gave the contact information for Saturday afternoon poetry.
Oh, okay. Well, Saturday afternoon poetry on Zoom. On Zoom is every Saturday at 3 p.m. And it is open to the public, moderated by yours truly.
A bunch of people.
And the Zoom information is the Zoom ID. I can put that in the chat as well. I'm trying to get one that I can actually read.
There's also a Saturday afternoon poetry website. If you
Yes,
Google
that's correct. Saturday afternoon poetry website. There's a Spectrum Publishing website. I will put all that in the chat. Spectrum, the reason why I love it so much is because it really does include all of LA and then some. Like the literal spectrum of poets is.
Outside of Saturday afternoon poetry, do you have any venues you like?
I haven't really been to many, so Zoom is my main forum now.
You've been to Canyon?
Yeah, well, and that's right. I mean, like in physical person.
Oh, okay.
In-person venue. I hear a lot of great things about World Stage. I've never been to World Stage, but I hear great things about them.
You must make the journey. I'm going to make sure you make the journey when things open up again.
Yeah, see, there are these venues that I've heard of, but I've never been to. So for me, I'm primarily here on Zoom with Canyon Poets, Poetry Apocalypse, Saturday Afternoon Poetry, Cold Boat Poets.
Well, let's go down each one at a time and make sure we give contact information if possible.
Okay. Canyon Poets would be Katrina Canyon. And that is Thursday night at 7. Right?
And what's the next one?
Mm-hmm.
Katrina Canyon?
Yeah.
Oh, the next.
I put that up there. Yeah.
Yeah, Katrina Canyon is on Facebook. It's a Thursday night event. We got that one covered. What's the other one?
Poetry Apocalypse.
Is Poetry Apocalypse. And that is Linda Singer. Linda Singer is on Sundays. Sundays at 4.
Hosted by
Linda Singer.
Linda
Linda
Singer.
Singer.
You can contact Linda Singer on Facebook, probably. Information. There is a group, right? Poetry Apocalypse group on Facebook.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, a lot of traffic there. It's a beloved group. You want to say anything about what kind of an event is it? Would you say? Because there is something special about Poetry Apocalypse. I think people should know.
Yes, one, it's an open mic, and second, it is like an open conversation.
Right.
It's
Correct.
very relaxed atmosphere, very, very, very heartwarming. And it's in San Pedro when it's for real.
Oh, is it really?
It's in San Pedro.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
lovely.
I didn't know that.
End of the freeway, overlooking the ocean.
Yes. I think it's in a coffee shop. I think it's in Coffee Grounds, but I don't remember exactly where it takes place. But
Well, the event I went to that was at the Arts Center.
at the art center. Okay.
Yeah, the Arts Center.
I never been.
I'm sorry, I'm working right now.
I've never been physically there.
Okay, thank you.
But our memories are growing pale because we have been under pandemic for over a year now, so it's hard to remember life before. I feel that too.
No, but I've never been to Poetry Apocalypse for real.
No, I haven't either.
We're gonna change that. We're gonna make it happen. I will personally Linda Singer at gunpoint to feature Lisbeth Coiman.
There's also Coco.
Here it is, my imaginary poetry gun. Feature Lisbeth.
Okay, are we gonna caravan to Poetry Apocalypse?
So I hope everybody heard that Poetry
Well,
Apocalypse.
we also missed Cobalt Poets. I'm trying to tell. Cobalt Poets is another one.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
One last thing about Poetry Apocalypse, because I wanted everybody to really know something about these events.
Okay.
Elizabeth said, in other words, this event is not time pressured. You go to some readings, you got a heavy duty time pressure, but that's not happening at Poetry Apocalypse. You get to speak your mind. And they've had some controversial meetings. They've really do have freedom of speech there. So if you're going to Poetry Apocalypse, be prepared for freedom of speech. Because that
Sometimes there are real fights there.
I just want people to know.
Sometimes there are real fights. I one day I was wondering if we were here for real in person, these guys would be punching each other's faces because it got really heated.
So
No,
Zoom-
someone would be holding them back is what would happen. They wouldn't be punching each other. Someone would be holding them back.
Oh no, we have a poet that is famous for punching people.
Well, if you want something completely the opposite, Coco is just bringing up a very tightly run reading, Cobalt Poets reading, which is on Tuesday nights, run by that master puppet controller, Rick Lupert. I mean that as a compliment, people. He runs a tight ship because it's a very efficient operation. You get full spotlight on you. When you're reading, it's you, right? There's nobody's interrupting. It's you. And you get 7 minutes. No more, no less. Well, no, no more, but I mean, you know, that's a pretty full helping there for an open reader, 7 minutes. Did you want to add to that, Coco? I'm sorry to say so much.
Okay. Poetry Superhighway
PoetrySuperhighway.com
is where a lot of the information for different things going on within poetry and for Cobalt Poets. You know, he posts things there.
And if you want to screen share, be sure to ask. Okay.
Right.
Because
Right.
not the default. I'm a big fan of screen share myself, but for Cobalt, you got to ask, right? Don't assume it's there. That's true for any reading, really. You want to use screen share.
Except for Spectrum. Spectrum, we're always ready and open.
Always open. Here we go.
Always open.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last one, in terms of having a Zoom presence is Virtual Dyer Series, the Virtual Friday Dyer Series. And they are in Washington. So it's Fridays at 7 p.m. Central Time. I think it's Central. So it's like 5 o'clock class or something like that.
Pacific. Washington is Pacific time.
Okay, well, it's okay. No, it's not Washington. I remember. Here we go.
In Washington, D.C.?
It's Eastern Standard Time.
So hold on a second. What's the name of the venue?
Yeah.
Virtual Friday Dyer Literary Series. And
there is something that I miss after virtual.
Virtual
Fridays.
Virtual
Fridays. What else?
Dyer, Dire, Literary Series.
Dyer Literary Series.
Literary Series.
Dyer Literary Series. What else? Dyer, Dyer, Literary Series. What else? Dyer Literary Series. Dyer Literary Series. What else? Dyer Literary Series. Literary Series.
And that is run by Timothy Gager. And you can also find him on Facebook. Last name is spelled Gager. And they have a reading Fridays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Easter.
Wow, this is something I didn't know. This is what I was hoping would happen in this meeting. Thank you so much, Coco.
Yeah, I really enjoy his readings. His readings are very fun, very unapologetic, in your face. You know, the type of stuff I like.
Okay, Coco, can you please write the name on the chat, because there is something I don't get. I don't get Dryer, and I didn't get the name of the woman either, or the man, or something. It's something in your Zoom that is sketchy, like.
No, it's just my voice. It's just my voice. I have a
no. It's something dire.
Dyer.
I have a speech impediment. So, you know.
It'll be in the notes under this video on YouTube for people to watch at their leisure. Wow, a venue we didn't know. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I'm going to fling over to this young guy named James Coates. I have a feeling he might know a few venues. You know some venues, James?
Yeah.
One at a time.
So my the venue that really provided a platform for me to start getting on the mic and have time was Floasis open mic in downtown Riverside.
What's the name? Oasis?
Floasis. It's like Oasis, but flow.
I knew Floasis in capsule form. Floasis does not cause diarrhea. Floasis, it's good for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
that's a cool name.
Yeah, it's a cool venue. It's like in a coffee shop in downtown Riverside, in like the basement. It happened once a month, and
any particular part of the month?
I believe it's the third or fourth Friday of the month.
Do they charge admission?
Yeah, it's like $3 admission to get in. Unless they're having like a special event with like musicians or like a big event, then it's like $5. Okay. But yeah, that was the first place I ever participated in a slam, my one and only slam.
That's going to change next week. Hey, do they have a Zoom presence?
So right now they are doing virtual readings. I don't know that the mic is open. I think they're still figuring that out. During the pandemic, they've had a transition to the virtual, and so I went to the show earlier, or the end of last month, and but it wasn't open mic situation at that time. Hopefully they'll be back up and running pretty soon. But I feel like that's one of my home venues. It really gave me a platform to speak at, because I live in the Coachella Valley, and so you know, just that drive was about 60, to 70, 80 minutes to get down there to downtown Riverside. But they're very welcoming and a fun place to be. And they have features, and then after the features, they have the open mic opportunity. And they're supportive of everyone, getting the chance to get up and read one of their poems. And then, go ahead.
Yeah, ready for another one.
And then the other one that I consider like a home venue for me is in Cafe Con Libros.
Cafe Con Libros.
Yes, so Cafe Con Libros is a bookstore in downtown Pomona. And they do a lot of community events associated with books and reading and supporting artists.
Who's the host? Who's the host?
And so Cesar is the host for let me think of the name specifically, Obsidian Tongues open mic. And that is on the second.
Tongues.
Yeah, Obsidian Tongues. And that's on the second Saturday of the month, which is like the market night. So a lot of people show up in the downtown area to shop, and they have food vendors and that type of thing. And
Where's that at?
downtown Pomona.
Yeah, I was able to visit that bookstore before the pandemic, and it's such a nice setup in there. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the place where I released my first book. They were very supportive of independent book, and they ended up keeping it on their shelves, stocking it on their shelves, so that people in the community could buy it. And then I was able to go down there and like do my performances, and then tell people like, hey, here's my book on the shelf, and you can get it from them. So that was really cool. So those are the two in-person venues that I would visit most often before the pandemic. Now that the pandemic is, we're kind of hopefully towards the end of it, it'll open back up. But there are some online venues that are pretty cool that I would like to visit when we open back up, because the online versions have been great. And some folks mentioned Cobalt Apocalypse, which I go to. And so one of them is the Poetry Lounge in I think North Hollywood, and that's Tuesday nights. So they're online right now. You can find them Instagram, the Poetry Lounge, and they're still doing Tuesday evenings. Definitive Soapbox is another amazing one. Happens once a month. I think it's the third Friday of the month.
Where do the Soapbox poets meet or met? Where did they meet?
I believe the venue is in Long Beach.
That's Jason Brain, right?
I think so, yes.
It's
They
Lemmer
have a
Park.
Zoom- they have a Zoom on-
It's Lemmer Park.
Lemon Park?
No,
Mer Park in Crenshaw.
Lemmer Park.
No.
No.
Well, that was last week, Definite Soapbox. That's it was last week, and it had Jaha feature last week, and it took place in Lemmer Park. It was open sky.
Are you talking about Swam?
Well, I know this, James. Soapbox is a title that's been used for up to
No,
3
the
different
definitive,
series in
the
LA.
definitive Soapbox.
Yeah, there have been 3 different reading series called Soapbox in LA, because one of them, the one I know best, is run by Jessica Wilson Cardenas.
Yes, no, this one is the definitive Soapbox.
And Jason Brain,
And then Judy
one
brought
that's
up
on
Jason
Thursday
Brain.
nights.
That was in the Valley, right? Judy?
Well, I don't know, Jason moved out of the area, so I'm not sure.
Used to be, I
But
remember.
now he's doing it on Zoom on Thursday nights.
Just to make it clear, you can go to Jessica Wilson Cardenas on Facebook, or
But that's LA Poet Society, right?
and Jason Brain is doing events too, Zoom events,
I
right?
believe so, yeah.
And then the third one.
Oh, and Cyrus Sepulveda, the Bad Mouth Poets.
So Lisbeth, do you know the information on that third one?
On the what?
The other soapbox, we just mentioned 2. Jessica Wilson has a soapbox reading, Jason Brain has a soapbox reading, and then there's this other one you brought up, In
The
Long Beach?
definitive soapbox.
Okay, has a different name.
The definitive,
The definitive soapbox.
that's it.
Oh,
definitive
That
soap-
differentiates it from the other two.
Soapbox.
The
And
def-
that's in Lemmer Park.
Okay.
It's
Lemmer
open,
Park.
it's open air. It's under the sky. I gotta go, Dawn, because I got a professional development at one. But you know what I will do? I will send you my list because I
Yeah, you were next.
try to hit as many as possible. And if you can share the information that you're sharing now.
Can you name one venue that hasn't been mentioned? What is just one?
Oh my God,
Name one.
Well, the Anansi Writers Workshop, I go every Wednesday. It has been my home since I came to LA. It's been 4 years going now.
Okay, so you're going to send us the contact info for that, and we'll
Oh, yeah.
put it under the video. Okay.
Rap Saloon, you cannot miss Rap Saloon. This is the most welcoming, most encouraging woman. It goes the first and third is Friday, but the first Friday is with Cynthia Alessandra Briano, and you want Cynthia on your team. Wherever you go, you want Cynthia on your team.
The Dominican
Encouraging.
Cynthia Alessandra Briano, she's wonderful.
Yeah, you want her on your team. The Rorschach on Sundays, I think is the second Sunday, and that's in Echo Park, and that's run by David Rockling, and he gives opportunity to people who has never been seen before. La Palabra in Avenue 50 studio. Yeah. I can go on for a while, but I really have to get out. Love you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Avenue 50. Been around a long time. I'm very happy to say Avenue 50 has been a bastion of art and poetry for decades in Highland Park, Avenue 50 studio. They have a website, and it lists all their events, whether they be art or poetry. And I feel like have I given everybody a chance to say something here? Maureen, that's right. Maureen, are you there?
Hello, I'm here. I'm just sort of eavesdropping because I'm in Northern California. So,
well, with the Zoom world, is it possible?
I know. There's so many one could list, but one place that's doing really, really great Zoom readings is called, I think it's called Sacred Grounds or Sacred Cafe, and that's on the internet as well as Facebook. And Aquas Cafe in Petaluma has a reading series. Again, these are all Zoom events. I haven't participated that much. I mean, do you remember the Zoom reading you did a couple of months ago, Dawn?
Well, I do a lot of readings.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's where I first dropped in. I thought that was. Yeah. Now you remember. You're going, yes. I thought that was really a great series, and I hope you mentioned it. Well, I had a really great time.
One very venerable venue that's in between both of us is in San Luis Obispo.
Yeah.
Kevin Patrick Sullivan.
I love him.
Wonderful guy. Been running that thing for like 40 years.
Right.
I'm not exaggerating, and they do a festival every year too. In November.
Right. And through Poets in the Schools, I don't know if you were there that year. We all did a reading there.
Oh, that's a long time ago.
Yeah, I know. I've read at so many places, Sculpture Gardens. I loved reading at Sculpture. I'm trying to think LA-ish right here. Beyond Baroque was wonderful to read at.
The Mecca, yeah.
Yeah, Sculpture Gardens was probably my absolute favorite.
Where's that?
San Pedro. I think it's still running. I'm not sure, but my experience is primarily the Bay Area, and I actually
I'm on it. I'm looking it up.
Oh, you are good. Great. Thank you. Mwah.
Yeah, we got some poets. They want to do a road trip, and once this pandemic's over, we want to get back up north.
I think it's a brilliant idea. One of the things I wanted to say was I used to coordinate a reading series in Sonoma County called the Russian River Writers Guild. And then it died in 1997 when I was in a car accident and nobody was willing to keep it going, as it were. We had a lot of people helping, but so I'm kind of done with the whole organizing part of it after 20 years.
Practically a greenhorn.
Yeah, and then before that I did a lot of crossover work with Sonoma State, trying to coordinate the two communities. Sonoma County was interesting in that there were all the poets in West County, including Andre Codrescu, and nobody was talking to each other. So we'd have all the little new poets at Sonoma State working with David Bromwich, etc., and then all the poets, the master poets, out in the field. So I created a reading series that brought the two communities together. I did that for about 5 years.
Would you say it's safe to say that Sonoma State would have some information about future events like this?
It's probably true. I have not heard much from Sonoma State, and certainly from the poetry world ever since David Bromwich died. I know there are things happening there, but it's awfully quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any university, I like to think.
Healdsburg was doing something really interesting pre-pandemic. And of course, Dana Gioia lives in Healdsburg, so Santa Rosa, actually. So we were doing a lot of events, including him and Poetry Out Loud. And I had some of my students from Alexander Valley reading it's called The Shed in Healdsburg. And I don't know if it's still in existence, but that was, I think it was Annie Lebowitz's art space, because she had moved up and had converted a barn. So hopefully, if that's still in existence after COVID, that might be another venue to check out.
Okay, I remember from my travels past,
Yeah,
Sacramento had a really hot reading.
it did. And then some kind of structural meltdown happened with the Sacramento Poetry Center. So I don't know where they are in terms of having picked up all the pieces yet.
And there was a cafe in Berkeley, a little cafe in Berkeley that had like a Sunday series.
Well, there's several. There's Diesel Books was really hot in that's the Oakland Berkeley border. They were doing a lot of reading series, but I think they like I say, everything is post-pandemic at this point. So it's hard to say what all is going to resurrect, because so many places are just closing up. Literally, they can't keep alive, especially an independent bookstore.
Coffee shops come and go, I'm sorry to say. Yeah.
Yeah. And independent bookstores as well. So.
Bookstores, yes. I'm very sorry to say that. Yeah.
Sadly.
Remember Chatterton's?
No.
I don't know if you ever heard of Chatterton's.
You know what? Bird and Beckett is still going in San Francisco. And I think they're doing Zoom readings as well.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah. I was eavesdropping. I wasn't expecting to talk. Otherwise, I might have created a list. So this is really extemporaneous.
Feel free.
Elderly extemporaneous.
Please feel free to make that list. I would love to have that list so we can do that future road trip after this is over.
I'll keep an eye out and I'll start the process.
In the past, you know what I did? I mean, this is decades ago, well, a couple decades ago. I would just look up, because we had computers back then. I would
I know.
I would Google.
Don't you just love when people say, "Oh yeah, those old people don't know how to use computers. We invented the fucking things."
Yeah. So I would Google like Santa Cruz and San Francisco and see what events were going on that particular month or week, because they would have calendars, right? Poetry Flash.
Yeah, Poetry Flash does have it. And you guys, this is an incredible resource. Poetry Flash is online, and they do list all the venues and events, and they will list whether or not they're doing Zoom readings.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out. It's a great resource.
And I would actually call these people, say, "Hey, we're coming from LA. Okay if we horn in on your reading." And some of them would even feature us, so that was very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, very cool.
I don't think you ever passed through ours. We've had some interesting people come through the Russian River Writers Guild.
Because you're talking about Santa Rosa?
Sonoma County.
Oh, Sonoma County.
Yeah, it
South.
was west of Santa Rosa and then eventually wound up in Santa Rosa itself. And, you know, ironically, once we wound up within the city limits within Santa Rosa is when the series began to die. It was much more vibrant and viable when it was out in West County, you know, you're out in the sticks because people were more interested in supporting poetry, I think.
And they would go there with that purpose.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And to drink. You got to remember that and to drink.
Yeah, I remember Santa Cruz had one. We had to trek to it. It was a bit of a drive.
Yeah.
There was a moon in the name, some kind of moon.
It
Oh,
was,
there's a bay,
I
there's a
remember,
bay.
I think I read
Half
there
Moon
too.
Bay. Half Moon Bay.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, Half Moon Bay, sure, yeah. I was thinking downtown Santa Cruz. I think there was something, but I thought it was a stationary bookstore.
Yeah,
Kim
it was,
Nelson was organizing readings down there.
yeah, that was a couple decades ago. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I know. We're dating ourselves. Nobody else will date us. You know how it goes.
But I vow when this pandemic is over, we will regroup and
On the road again.
head out on the highway, looking for adventure.
Well, I've had that already.
Thank you.
Done that.
Thank you. You're fueling our fires. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I think everybody's had a shot. We've been on for 45 minutes now. That's a good sized episode. So we're gonna finish off by saying, be sure to check the notes under this YouTube recording. You'll see from the chat, it'll all be available. A lot of contact information. Thanks to Coco taking good notes
Thank you, Coco.
today, MVP Coco. And we'll be seeing you hopefully on YouTube anytime. You can watch us in your jammies, whatever you want. Sponsored by Unicorn Bling. How does it go? Unicorn Bling accessories? Or
Unicorn Blinking accessories.
yeah.
Mother's Day is coming, guys.
Every day at 6:30? Is that every day at 6:30?
Every day at 6:30 p.m. on Facebook Live.
Cool.
$5 fashion never looks so good.
Just look around behind her. There's a lot of bling going on.
There's
All right.
Mama.
There's an example.
Judy, yes.
Oh, yeah,
she
Judy
got some bling. Yeah. Nice. Well, that's a very happy note to end on. I'm going to stop this recording so you may wave farewell, and we'll see you next Thursday for the
Bye.
next recording. How do I stop it? Oh, yeah, go over here, and there we go.